did you watch the presidential debate last night? I'm not going to get into the weeds about politics or anything like that. And we're talking about the first debate because this episode will air next week for you folks listening. Whatever.
Or whenever you get around to listening to it.
This debate had everything. It had bumbling. It had stumbling. And it had fumbling. Holy shit. It had betrayal. It had revenge. It had true love with the smooching at the end. I don't know if anybody saw that. Not the candidates, but them and their wives. One couple and their wives. Not the other one hates someone's good. Anyway, there was fighting. I think there was stabbing. Someone called someone a clown. Oh man, what an event! I was coming in my pants. South Park was better.
Yeah,
I like the South Park pandemic special much better.
Though it's sad though. Whenever yes, that one was better, but if you went with which one was funnier?
Ooh, man. Yeah. That's hard because the debate was 2 hours long, I think, right? 9 to 11?
Something like that, yeah.
South Park didn't make me angry at any moments.
Right. It just infuriated.
I didn't get a headache. I don't know, man. It wasn't good. This is the first time in any kind of political event I've seen both sides equally go, that was terrible.
Yeah.
That was terrible. That was the worst fucking thing ever. So that made me happy. I mean, we expected it to be awful, but it exceeded all expectations.
I don't know the guy's name, but the moderator?
Chris Wallace.
That man.
I felt bad for him. He was arguing more than they were with each other. He was fighting. Trump was arguing with him, and he was just trying to ask the questions.
I feel like that, what he had to deal with that just embodies, the average person's, work day.
Yeah.
Trying to deal with, their two bosses.
I hope he got paid well for that. They better give him a lot of money, because that was terrible. And I don't even really, I don't know much about Chris Wallace. I don't watch Fox News, but that was... Whoo. Well, you know what? He also did a very shit job.
Yeah.
I will say that, not just with the interruptions and the arguing and stuff. He didn't follow up on questions that I wanted him to follow up on. And he kept going to Trump oh, you'll like this question. What? What do you mean he's going to like this question? You'll like the next question. Don't worry. No, fuck that. It's a debate. You're not supposed to like the question.
But then, though... He still gave him his shit, though, sometimes.
Yeah, but, half of it, he was trying to appease the man.
Yeah.
I'm
well, I think he was just trying to get him to shut up. I think he was just trying to, say whatever he could say.
To get him to shut
up.
It was, the stages of, a kidnapping victim. When they go through, the pleading, and then, trying to make him happy, and then, raging, lashing out, and then yelling at one point. He's I'm gonna yell because you guys are yelling. I was what the fuck is happening? And Biden was even shut up, man. I was what is this?
There's shirts. There's shut up man shirts.
Yeah.
You can get.
I'm going to get one. You know what? That's it, folks. That's the cold open. I don't want to talk about that anymore. That was awful. We'll get into the episode. Just because oh, God.
Oh.
Hello there, ghouls. Ooh. Hey, it's October, so I guess we gotta do that now. Every episode.
Hey, that looks like we didn't open up with shitty Crypt Keeper impressions. Just bad puns.
I'm your host, Caleb James, and the bad pun master himself, Spencer, the Zelianople Zombie Church. I really did not think I could say Zelianople. I've never said that out loud. Also, I know that's in Pennsylvania, but I don't know anything else about it. Yeah, that's the only reason why I know it, because I've seen the sign for it going to Pittsburgh or somewhere.
I never noticed.
I've seen a sign for Zelianople. It's a name somewhere. Today's episode, we are... Fuck it. What are we doing? Brainstorming. By the way, this episode, even though it's not an official sponsor, I am drinking Jameson Cold Brew Coffee Edition. And you know what? It is fucking fantastic.
Yeah?
If you like coffee, cold brew coffee especially, you want to get a bottle of Jameson. Pop that top. And you know what I like about Jameson? Twist top.
Ooh.
None of that bullshit cork. I don't know why we're still doing corks. 2020, it's been proven that corks do not plug it up good enough. and they're a pain in the ass. I've had...
I would think it would mess with the flavoring.
Some say it enhances the flavoring. Here's what pisses me off. I don't want cardboard in my fucking whiskey.
Yeah.
I've had very, very fancy, expensive $80 bottle of scotches, expensive for me, and the cork snaps off in it, and then you have gross cork particles in your scotch. Like, that's terrible. That pisses me off. Why are we doing that when screw-on lids exist? You know what wine always tastes better than the super expensive corked wine? Screw-on lid wine. Why? Because it does go flat.
Or like just they should just sell now with a thing that you can just like when you go to pour it like the like how at the bars how they have the spiller it comes onto the thing whenever you pour it, it just and then you can shut it.
You know what would be cool? A cap where you just twist it and it opens up that hole in the middle to pour, and then you can twist it and it would close it. That seems doable.
Like any normal kid's cup?
Yeah. I feel like the cork is one step away from the shitty Capri Sun straw. And then I'm not going to finish this Capri Sun. Let me take the straw back out, and then you just have a hole. Like, that's how I feel. Like, how do you plug that up? You don't. I don't know why I brought up Capri Sun. Because no, I'm not going to do it now. Because we've been on a kick of retro drinks. But Capri Sun is still around. It never went away.
Not now.
Not now. But you folks know. You folks know.
When you really suspect it.
When you are on the john and you hear a rumbling from behind you. And what is that rumbling? It's Caleb bursting through the wall with a nice surge slogan. Like, Jesus Christ.
Why don't you have any pants on, Caleb?
Blasphemy. I don't like wearing pants. I'm not wearing them now. Spencer's very uncomfortable. Especially now we're closed in.
Yeah.
And I'm always naked over here. That's why we can't have video.
Just a robe.
Yeah.
Just...
Oh. This is my warm robe. I'm getting my... Spencer, you're going to be excited. I will let you know. I didn't let you know about the fish tank. The fake fish tank.
Yeah.
Getting a fireplace tomorrow. Ooh. Right over there. So you know what happens when it's chilly down here? We got the warmth.
Nice.
And after that, all I got to do is get a couple chairs. We can watch movies down here.
Yeah.
And other things.
Yeah.
On the TV. Spooky things. Scary things. Spooky, scary skeletons. Alrighty then. So, brainstorming. I don't know what you had in mind for this one, but I did start a story this week. I've been working on it every day but yesterday, which is funny because I told you I've been writing every day.
Yeah.
Didn't write yesterday. I made myself a liar.
Cocky motherfucker.
There was too much entertainment to be had. I was watching the finals.
Yeah.
Which was a blowout, by the way. Game 1. Lakers and Heat.
Who?
Lakers won. They destroyed the Heat. Wasn't even everybody on the Heat got hurt immediately. So anyway, I'm working on a horror story. It's gonna be a little tricky to explain this one because I have a vague, I don't have an ending in mind, and I have a vague plot as to where I want it to go. It starts off, girl driving through the Texas desert on a lone highway.
Okay.
She checks her phone map. I'm going to speed through this. Obviously, there's more description of this. It's not going to be so shitty. But she checks her phone map to see where she is. And I have some kind of app on there. She asks where, the next town is. And it's 63 miles away. And she's like, what the fuck? Shouldn't be 63 miles away. When I turned onto this road, it said this was the fastest route to wherever I'm going. Explain where she's going later. And then it tells her, the phone gets a little weird, and the voice changes on the app, and it tells her there's a gas station nearby, because she asked where, was there somewhere I can fucking stop before I take this forever drive? So she finds that it tells her where this gas station is, but when she looks on the map, there is no, it's just flat desert. It's like, what the fuck is this? So anyway, got no choice, starts driving, goes to this real sketchy, old, rundown gas station. Looks like it's out of business. The sign's all fucked up. Yeah. It only has one pump that barely works, something from the 50s. So he's just like, this is sketchy. I'm a woman by myself. I don't know if I like this. She goes and checks the convenience store, it's a gas station convenience store. The door's open, so she looks and she sees the glow of a soda machine. So she knows, at least got to be something's working. There's electricity. She peeks in and she sees it's a really shitty convenience store. It's got fogged up coolers and there's a guy there reading a 70s era Playboy behind the counter, a grizzled looking dude with the beard. This is where I am at now. She just enters the convenience store.
Yeah.
I don't really have a set plan of what I'm going to do with her in this convenience store. The convenience store is not going to be the main part of the story, though. Where I am thinking of heading with this story, I want this to be like some kind of purgatory maybe, or even hell. And I'm going to have it set when I get, because I didn't do it yet, but I'm going to have some backstory where she maybe committed a murder or something. She's running away from something. She did something bad. That's why she's going. That's why she wasn't very particular about her final destination of, wherever in Texas. She's just driving. But she's in this gas station. And then I'm going to have it set, the guy's real creepy and just kind of puts her off. Like he's not not even just like a normal weird dude who's working out in the middle of nowhere. Like there's something strange about him. And then I'm thinking she's going to go outside, and where I want the main story to take place is like an old, like, creepy motel. And I'm thinking that she goes back outside, and then there's like cause maybe she's like, hey, somewhere, anything else around here? But there's a motel out back, and she'd be like, wait a minute, I didn't see a motel, just desert. And then she looks, and there's a motel, and it's like,
I was just going to say, like, maybe have, like, the motel be, like, down the way, kind of like,
could do that, too, yeah.
Almost kind of like
again, not on the map.
Yeah.
Because I'm having, like, whatever, like, because, like I said, the app voice was, like, a very friendly, kind of like a Siri, hey, Siri, where's the next town? And then it's, like, a happy voice. But then when she asked it where, if there was, like, a gas station, it didn't say anything. And then she asked it again, and then the voice was not friendly sounding. Like, what the fuck? Not the normal voice she's used to. I was like, maybe that's, like, a demon or something. Something took over, like, it's not. I'm having it where it's, like, she crossed into... Obviously, like I said, like purgatory or hell or something, she crossed into that area, and now everything's going to be skewed. Her map's not going to be right now because this place doesn't actually exist.
Just my first idea is, and this is kind of like, is more of a reveal of the end thing, is that maybe, like, whatever crime it is that she committed, maybe there, like, shortly after, like, where she tried to get away. She died. And so that's what when she was traveling, she thought she was still alive. And it just turned out that was just her dying. And then, like, the whole purgatory and hell stuff. And, like, that's kind of, like, whenever.
Well, I did very vague foreshadowing on the intro. I have it, like, it starts off, she's driving. And it's, like, really hot out, and her air conditioner shorts out. So she stops and, like, stretch her legs and stuff. The foreshadowing, I kind of have where she's scanning around, sees nothing but open desert. And the only life she does see is way off in the distance. Buzzards circling overhead like something that was dead.
Yeah.
Like, very, very subtle.
And you can also, like, more like cover where it'd be like, it's like hot as blazes out here, or like, comment like on the heat and the sweat. I constantly
mention the Texas heat, the hot sand blowing, like the gas station very steamy.
Ooh, and then you should have the car that she's driving have like leather seats. That she's always, just
sticking to it.
Just like those little naggy things that are just like little own personal, like hell kind of things. Just throw those kind of things in there.
I did mention, like, when she's looking around, like, the roof of the car is, like, has the heat waves wobbling and rising off it. I also, another bit of foreshadowing when she's in the gas station. At first she noticed that kind of like a musky odor, but when she fully, like, goes inside, she notices almost, like, on that tail end of the musky odor is like a sickening sweet smell, like a cloyingly, like maybe death kind of, how it has that little tinge of weird sweetness to it, like rotten meat. She kind of smells that, and it triggers like a memory. And I just have it like she can't put her finger on what that memory is.
You could have her get like maybe like a headache or something whenever she, whenever like a migraine or something.
Well, here's the main horror element I wanted to put on, because I always like to have like a specific horror theme that kind of like we did an episode in the past where I asked like people their fears and those like needles and things like that. Well, this one is, I was thinking about it, like this would be, I think, most people would fear this if they actually experienced it, because we were talking about like Groundhog's Day and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, what if like, she goes, some weird shit happens at the motel or something, she's like, fuck this, and just as she goes down the road, she pulls right back up to the gas station again. Like, no matter what she does, she can't leave because it's like it's purgatory or hell. So she just keeps going back, and everything she does, it's the same thing over and over again. So she'll go in the gas station and be like, what the fuck? Now here's where I'm at a little bit of a convergence, a little fork in the road. Like how I said the foreshadowing about the sweet smell in the gas station. At first I thought, well, what if that is maybe reminding her of whoever she might have killed or something? Or what if that's reminding her of either like her own death, or like maybe she's been in that hell so long, like do I reset her memory at some point? And then like at the end, how I could end it is she like escapes again, but then she goes and it just replays the whole intro again.
Yeah.
And she doesn't remember being there. And maybe it was like she, in her trying to escape, tries to kill like the gas station attendant. Maybe like she does, and like it's his dead body that was rotting. So perhaps she keeps like again the cycle.
Ooh, and then if you do that, then maybe when you reveal the thing, maybe she like held up a convenience store and murdered like the clerk or whatever,
and hid out in like a motel or something sketchy. And then so she actually is reliving that, you know, that kind of.
The only thing I worry about that is with the hotel aspect and of it just being a common like thing and having, because wasn't you've already like, did you ever finish that one story with like, you know what I mean?
That was a little bit different because that the whole.
Well, yeah, but yeah.
I'm not gonna talk. I don't remember if I talked about that on the show or not.
I think you mentioned it before, but it was forever ago.
Yeah, and I didn't finish that, but that was actually gonna be a whole short story collection. But like, I don't know if the motel would be like the main setting, but because motels are something that always kind of creeps everybody out. Like, you know, who could be watching? Because I had to have other characters introduced, so you know, there's got to be a attendant, maybe a cleaner or something. And
or like a noisy neighbor.
Something, yeah, there's got to be something weird. And obviously, a lot of this stuff that's going to happen in the motel is going to tie into her memories. So that'd be fun to work with.
And how long were you thinking about? Just like a short story?
Yeah, I'm already at like 1,000, 1,500 words. I was thinking no more than 10,000. I mean, I was going to put this on DPW just for the Halloween stuff, but I don't. Well, we got a lot of submissions now. I'm actually thinking about calling off like the short stories because we've been getting so many in. By the way, folks, if you're listening to this and you're thinking of submitting to DBW, follow the guidelines. I'm rejecting anybody who's not now because I've had so many where I'm just like, hey, I'm sorry, but you got to follow our guidelines. They're not very strict.
Yeah.
But you can't just send the file with horror story and then just like expect any publisher to publish it. Like, that's not how that works.
It's just laziness.
Yeah. Like, why would you even write? Like, what is the point? I don't know what they think's going to happen. But now I'm just rejecting people for that. Two, if you, I'm sure I said this in the guidelines, but just in case I didn't, if you submit to another magazine as well as DPW, tell us it's a multiple submission, and also if you get accepted somewhere, please tell us because
we can take it down.
I was already putting up a story, did most of the work edited the whole story, put the work into putting up the story. It took like a couple hours, and then the guy finally messaged me back, you know, because I told him we were taking the story. He messaged me back saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, the story is accepted somewhere else." It's like, well, now you just blackballed yourself because I don't think I'm going to publish.
You didn't give him like the copy that you edited back, did you?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
No, because there was definitely some errors in it. Like, it's just not professional behavior.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fine if you get accepted somewhere else. Congratulations. I'll be happy for you. But tell me that before, you know, if I email you and say, hey, we would like to take your work, it'd be like, oh, sorry, you know, got accepted. Like, don't just fucking wait forever. Anyway, yeah, so that story, I think it has some promise here. I need some creepy characters, too, involved. Because obviously the looping thing will be kind of unnerving, but it's not going to be scary.
Since it's a motel, you can have like a prostitute.
Thinking about that.
A prostitute, which would be like her friend, because say like she's a prostitute, and then so that's some. She might not be like somebody that's staying at the hotel, but she's like, you know, she's working, she's walking around, she's hanging out at the hotel because it's probably an easy place to pick up the. You know, those kind of dudes. And then you have like a drug dealer there. So then when you flash back to her actual life, maybe she was a prostitute, and like that could either be her or like her
maybe everyone she experienced,
her friend or something.
Yeah, maybe everybody that she meets in this place is actually a reflection of the life she was living.
Yeah, and then with her being a prostitute, there's a good chance that she's also into some kind of drugs, which then would be, and then these can either be one for one, like the drug dealer could be that's the actual drug dealer, or it could be like a representation of that said drug dealer, like, you know what I mean? They don't have to look the same, or you could, you know what I mean? And maybe you have like a, where she's at the hotel, maybe you have like a sheriff or like a deputy kind of like hanging around. And that also maybe like represent like the chase, being chased by the law. Like, and just is like, it starts out like he's just trying to just be friendly talking to her, and just as it progresses, it's just, you hint more and more of his suspicion of her or whatever, you know what I mean? And then that also adds like the tension and that kind of stuff.
And also going back to the convenience store clerk, how you said maybe she held up a convenience store or something. Perhaps I'll have a small part where she notices maybe she thinks it's ketchup or something on the guy's shirt.
Yeah.
Maybe she actually shot him and killed him. And that's why he seems kind of slightly familiar and creepy.
And also maybe has like a smell and like a bloated look and like,
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of fun. I also want to do something with like a shitty motel pool with like really funky water, like dirty green half full pool. It's in Texas too, so it's going to be like really warm. But there'll be people still swimming in it, or like maybe just like a kid or something. Like maybe it would be a reflection of her kid. Maybe she's a prostitute. She had a kid and abandoned it. There's a lot of things like that. That's a hard thing because when you come up with all these ideas, you're like, oh, that'd be awesome. Ghost, lights flicking. Why is it flicking? I don't know. But anyway, if you have get all these ideas, but then you have a word count length.
Yeah, and then that's the thing. It's like, and we'll both have started to flirt with like the longer story ideas and stuff like that, and it's like it's difficult to be like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, like I have to commit to this story for at least 2 months if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
But I'm lazy, so at least 3.
And that's probably
4.
Probably the initial draft too. Yeah, there's a lot of people who knock out these like short novellas fairly quickly. I'm thinking either you're very dedicated to writing or you're just really shitting out these stories without a lot of thought. I would like to think they're just very good writers, but I mean,
without reading it, it's hard to tell.
Again, if you have the time and the energy to do that, if you can knock out 5,000 words a day, you can knock out a novella in like a week.
Yeah.
And then edit it. So maybe a month you could have a really good, well done novella.
Well, and we've only read one book of the 2 guys from the Dead Robot guys, or the Dead Robot Society, but it always seems like they're at least in the process of always having like 2 to 3 books out a year.
Yeah.
And we read The Black from Paul E. Cooley. Now, granted, we haven't read anything else, so we can't be like, oh, man, this one was good, but like this thing was shitty. He must, like, you know what I mean? So,
well, they have interesting ways to go about writing. Because Terry, for instance, he gets more books out a year. I want to say he's retired from like having a day job now. I don't think he actually works like a real job anymore.
I think he's
maybe does like consulting or something.
Yeah, I think he makes enough off of writing that he can pretty much like that's his main gig.
So, and also he uses a lot of speech to text. That was it, that Dragon software. I forget the name of it, but he uses that. So that actually, if you're just talking out loud your story, that would make that process a lot faster.
How do you feel about that though?
I don't think I would like it. I've done that on Google Docs, like just writing down ideas when I'm they say I'm driving or something. It works. You just have to be like, the guy ran down the street, period, and then it'll do that. But I don't see the story the same way in my head when I do that.
The only time that I feel like it helps me using that kind of stuff is if I'm doing like a review or like a smaller like article, because then like I feel like it gives it more of a like you're talking to the reader kind of thing, other than you're just kind of like listing the facts and information.
Well, here's where I think it would be helpful in fiction is if it's say a first person story, like journal entry, just because we're reading Dracula right now, or it's if the author is actually speaking directly to the reader.
Yeah.
That'd be like what you just said with the article. But if it's a fiction story, a normal third person story, and you do that, I feel like it would give too much of the author's personal voice involved. So then it would be like, well, who's telling this story? Maybe that's just a little nitpicky. Again, I don't use the software, so I don't know if I did it for an extended period of time, how well that would be. But I just don't. I like that physical act of writing.
I mean, just as being a quote-unquote writer.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the, oh man, I've read all these books, but no, you've listened to them on Audible.
No, didn't Stephen King have to do that for a while?
A speech thing?
Yeah, because his eyes were so bad.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if the technology would have really been...
I don't know. Anyway, but, like, as far as the Dead Robots guys, now Paul, besides editing the podcast that they record, I think, every week, he also, works, like, real jobs.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know what his production's like, but, and again, I don't know these guys' personal lives.
No.
I mean, I know Terry's married, but they're an older couple, so I don't think they have any kids or anything living with them. I don't know Paul's situation, but I would think, you know, just two older guys, they probably have a little more free time when it comes to writing.
Yeah.
Versus, you know, anybody in their 20s or 30s or anybody who has a family with, like, kids, like, young kids, too, especially not adult kids. That could be a lot more difficult. We've covered this topic many times. Like, you and I, our main problem is our jobs, our day jobs. Suck the energy and motivation out of you so hard that even on the weekends or whenever you're off, it's kind of like recovery time.
Yeah.
Lately, like, most of the writing I've done on this story, I've actually done, like, on lunch at work.
Ooh.
Because, well, I'm on the road, so I'm in the truck, it's quiet. I just find that, because that's, like, my ideal writing time is, like, around 1, 2 o'clock, because I'm most awake then. When I get home, I'm tired.
Yeah.
And now I am a night owl, so if it was, like, midnight to 5 in the morning, because that back in the old days when I worked different job and worked different hours, and had, like, especially when I was, like, part-time for a while, so I only worked, you know, weird days and stuff. I would do things like that because that's when I'm really most awake is at night. Yeah. But now my schedule, I have to sleep because I have to go to work in the morning.
I've been flirting with the idea because for the past couple months I've been working from 4 in the morning to 1. I've been flirting with the idea of, like, you know, get home, get cleaned up, grab something to eat, maybe, like, watch TV for a little bit, but then, like, go to bed.
And then wake up at, like, midnight or something?
Wake up at, like, maybe, like, somewhere between, like, 11 and midnight and do some writing the couple hours before I have to go to work. But I don't know if that would...
That'd be a tough adjustment period, I think. Well, I mean, if you're working at 4 in the morning, you're probably going to bed pretty early anyway, right? Like 6?
No, I normally go to bed sometime between 10 or 11. I tend to fall asleep on the couch.
So your sleep schedule is dog shit.
Oh, yeah.
Which probably is affecting your writing heavily.
Tremendously.
Fucking ridiculous. Going back to brainstorming, do you have anything you want to brainstorm?
I can't really, like, brainstorm on the story that I'm working on because I kind of got a good idea on what I at least want to, for the next couple chapters anyways, want to do. But I did have a flash of an idea for, like, a short story, maybe even just, like, a flash fiction piece on the way back from the comic book store last night.
Okay.
Because, like, it had to be sometime between, like, around, like, 9:30ish, a little bit after. So it was pretty dark off. So, like, you know, I pull off the highway, I pull into town. Like, by the gas station, I just see, like, this younger girl in, like, you know, like, a sweatshirt and yoga pants, but just, like, walking her dog, just taking her dog for a walk at, like, 9 o'clock at night. And I just kind of felt like, that seemed like a bad idea. Like, you know what I mean? Just, you know, just seemed maybe a little dangerous. Not that, like, the area that I live in is, like, a bad area, but, like, you know, just, you know, I always hear from women that, you know, that's the kind of things that you think about, like, you know, whenever, like, you never go to a gas station at night that doesn't have, like, the lights on.
Yeah.
You know, just, like, that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, that seems like a little dangerous, or, like, almost kind of like a trap. Almost, kind of, but then, like, that's the initial idea of, like, maybe trying to get somebody who would do something like that, and then, like, you know, and then almost kind of like a hard candy kind of thing with but then, like, I don't have any, like, you know, after that, or that's why I was thinking maybe just like a flex fiction piece, so it doesn't have those kind of things don't have to have like solid.
Well, I'm gonna tell you why you can't write that story, Spencer. Because last Friday I published a similar story.
Okay, fair enough.
It was a flash fiction story entitled "Curse of the Flesh." If any of you folks want to read it, and it starts off with a young woman walking through the city at night.
Okay.
And I describe how it's dangerous, obviously, because it's like dark. It veers. I like your trap idea. That's different from what I did. My idea was kind of playing on the old Japanese folklore trope of you see like a woman walking alone, and then you're like, oh shit, does she need help or something? And it turns out like a ghoul or something. Well, she sees a dark figure in the distance, like, oh shit, but she just keeps walking, and then she puts her head down as she walks past the figure, and it turns out to be like some creepy guy or something. Starts following her. So now you're thinking, okay, what's happening here? And then she turns in a dark alley. So I have it set up. You're thinking, okay, well, clearly she's going to be like a monster, right? Or something. This is the classic trap here.
She's going to be the monster?
Yeah, because like why? Because I have it set, like she doesn't speed up. She doesn't run. She walks slow. Lets him follow her. So you're like, oh, well, why is she doing that? She's not even trying to get away. She's going to have this guy catch her because she's going to be like, eat him or something, the monster. Here's my twist that I put on the story. I have like the guy, he grabs her and they have a conversation, it's like, hey, sweet stuff or whatever. But they're both very monotone and flat with their words, and like they're in a dark alley, but they're just both like they don't want to even be there. And like, well, what the fuck's happening? And like he grabs her very limply on the shoulder and she kind of like smacks it away very lightly. He's like, what the fuck? And then he pulls out a knife and off there's a light in a window or something, kind of glints off the light, exposes part of his face, and he's like kind of gross looking. And then he turns her around and it exposes her face, which is like sunken in and like kind of dead looking.
Like both be like monsters?
I have it set up where and then like they barely tussle, and then she already has a big cut across her throat and it's all dried up like coagulated blood and stuff. And he puts the knife in the pre-carved line and just like cuts it. And then she elbows him and the knife goes like in his neck. And then they both fall dead. Well, what it turns out is, this happened before where he, in real life, like this lady was walking. The guy chased her down, murdered, tried to catch her in the alley. And then she tries to escape. So he ends up slitting her throat. But then she elbows him. And then, he dies. So then what happens is they're stuck in this cycle where their fucking ghostly dead remains keep reliving every night that same exact moment. So by the time like whatever it is now, they're just like, oh, this fucking sucks.
And they know.
But they know. But they have to keep doing it. So that's kind of like your trap idea, but I threw a twist on it where because you think, oh, this is gonna be a trap.
Well, it's a very common idea.
Yeah, it's not very. That's been out there. Ooh, you could help me with this flash fiction piece.
Okay.
Fantasy story.
All right.
Hard fantasy. Guy, a nice young prince, maybe.
Okay. Thinking, a duke, maybe.
You know what? He's questing.
Ah, fuck you, man.
He's questing. Yeah, it's a knight questing. Gotta save a princess, right? Well,
does he get eaten by a dragon?
Thinking about it. I mean, he goes across the plains, fights hordes of fucking ghouls and zombies and goblins and trolls and all the classic stuff. Here's the part you're gonna like, Spencer. Finally reaches the castle. Gets stopped by the princess, right? Yeah, probably. I'm sure they can brace or what. And he has to fight to get to her, obviously. Climb up a fucking tower, fight a wizard, like all that classic shit. Well, he finally gets to her, looking each other in the eyes. And she looks him deeply, and they embrace. Kiss. And she looks back, and she says, do you want to get butt naked and ride through the mist of Avalon on the back of a wild rhino? Surge! Eat lightning and crap thunder. By the way, that whole flash fiction piece, that was just off the top of the head riffing. I didn't think about that at all beforehand. I didn't know how to set up that dumb bit. I didn't have an idea how to set up the surge, but you brought up flash fiction. That was figured that'd be a good way.
Is the sound effect gonna be coming before or after?
I don't know. No, it's gotta come in at the drop. It always starts at the question. Why it was a rhino, I don't know. I thought majestic steed, but you can't go majestic steed. It's got to be a wild rhino.
Yeah.
I already hate this bit. The setup. It just derails the whole episode. I hope you folks know, as we go on with this stupid bit weekly, I'm gonna get smoother with it.
I don't think you should.
You just be ham-fisted.
I think it needs to be jocking and hard, just, abrupt.
Just cut you.
Yeah.
Today's sponsor, do you want to fuck me?
I want to give the listeners whiplash.
Every time.
Every time they hear that.
See, but that kind of setup, I feel like it does have the abrupt shift. You don't expect that.
No, I wasn't.
I feel like I'm just going to start writing stories just so I could have the surge part pop in. No word on if anybody likes the surges. Ashley likes them. He listens to the episodes more now just to get to the surge stuff. Yeah. I don't know if anybody else does. Listeners, if you like the surge content, let us know. If it offends you or you think it's just plain stupid, also let us know. We're not going to stop doing it.
Yeah, but we like to know.
I like doing it. This wasn't supposed to be the end of the episode, but I feel like we can't really go anywhere else now.
Recover after that?
Folks, we are going to be doing Dracula for Bookcast, so I would say starting next week.
Probably, yeah.
Well, when can we record that episode? Because it would have to come out, because I don't want those to come out on Tuesday. It doesn't matter, we'll figure it out. But we will be reading Dracula, Bram Stoker's original Dracula. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if I'm going to do a guide on this one, but we were talking about just doing 5 chapters at a time.
Something like that, yeah.
But essentially, just read Dracula, and if you want to get involved, you could, I guess you're just listening, I don't know. You can send us stuff. Or,
yeah, if you ever have any questions or maybe our thoughts on a certain aspect of the book or something.
Yeah, we could always do that. But just to follow along and, know what we're talking about, just read Dracula, and every episode will probably do like 5 chapters at a time, maybe more depending on if they're short or anything.
Yeah, because this is the first time we've done like a
novel.
Yeah, not just like a collection of stories or something like that, or just done the whole book at once.
Yeah, see, but I feel like the format of this kind of lends itself well to the Bookcast format. And then after that, I'm supposed to read Salem's Lot, so. And then we'll do an episode of Compare and Contrast, where Spencer tries to remember Salem's Lot.
Yeah, because I'm not going to read it again. You're going to read it, but I'm not going to try to read it.
Yeah, just watch like a documentary video.
That's what I figured. I'd probably just maybe look some YouTube stuff up. Or
I do that, so I'm going to do that for the shitty King Arthur when we record that episode, the Read This Guys. Yeah. Which, if he said he's doing King Arthur, well, he's going to talk about Steinbeck's King Arthur, so I guess that's different than what they've been doing. Lord knows why. What if he really loves Ash from here? Read this. What if he really, really loves questing, and we just insulted his whole British facilities?
Maybe. I mean,
faculties, not facilities. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know if he loves King Arthur. I feel like he likes King Arthur a lot more than we do. It's not that I don't like King Arthur. I just got tired of the questing. I was enjoying it at first.
I thought I liked King Arthur until reading King Arthur.
Not the original King Arthur, though.
But I can't imagine it being that much better.
Imagine it being worse.
Yeah.
Much harder to read, probably. You know what we should do? We should read the Canterbury Tales, the original English version, which is like, in the Steinbeck's King Arthur, where you'd have like a sentence or two of old-timey knight speak, and it just had weird Y's everywhere instead of I's. That's like Canterbury Tales, that's the whole thing. It's like that. It's terrible. And, like, there's a lot of words that just apparently formed into other words at some point. So, back then, they were just different words and sounds. And you're like, what does this mean? Like, I know the letters, but that is it. I don't understand. I'm supposed to do a inebriated reading challenge, too, with Ash. Ashley had her, not Ash, British Ash. I forgot what I'm supposed to be doing, though. Anyway, if you folks want to check out all the great horror stories and stuff we have coming out, not just the ones we wrote. We got a lot of feature writers coming up here. Starting today, we had a poem. We got a horror flash fiction tomorrow. I guess this is a week off. But every day we got something. So check that out at drunkenpenwriting.com. You can go on to, what are we on, Spencer? Twitter. That sounds like
Twitter,
a thing.
I think Twitter's a thing.
Twitter at drunkenpenwriting. Facebook Drunken Pen Writing. Instagram at Drunken Pen Writing. You can also go on our YouTube where we have one video of us smashing shit with a hammer or something, and then like a bunch of just podcasts.
Maybe a best work to date.
Yeah, I like the music choice. I thought that was good. Yeah. I was angry. Ooh, shout out to all our patrons on Patreon. We got Jangles Prime. No, that's just our one guy on Twitter that always talks to us. I don't have Patreon. I don't think I want Patreon. I heard on that Myth and Legends podcast I listened to, they have some kind of membership deal on their website.
Oh, yeah?
He started with Patreon, said fuck this, and they did a membership thing. Granted, that was like 2016. I don't know. I'm not current, so I don't know if he's still doing that. But maybe that's something we'll do in the future.
That's what like Kevin Smith does. He has like a Kevin Smith club where you just pay so much a month and you get to
like extra access to stuff.
And then you get all the old archives, tell the old episodes, and just extras, depending on, what tier you go with.
Right.
I think like the highest one is that you get a copy of like one of his scripts like every 3 months.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll look into that. We'll see how popular Halloween season can be bumping, but usually after that we drop off. Also, because I have no more energy to read shit, so I just don't want any submissions, and I don't want to write anything, so we just kind of go into a holiday funk for 7 months.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, like, because,
Coronavirus extended the last one.
Yeah. I don't think we got out of our last holiday hump before we get into this one.
We went right to Halloween. Anyway, thanks for listening, folks. We always appreciate it. If you want to leave us a nice review on iTunes, we are on there. I never call that out ever on here, but apparently that is a thing that people...
Still? iTunes?
It's like a podcast version, but I still have it on my computer as iTunes. We're also obviously on Spotify and everything else you might be using. But if you could just Podbean, whatever you're on, if you give us like... a review, or even just hit the stars.
Yeah.
Give us some stars. That helps just get more viewers to listeners. Again, I should probably do this every episode. I don't like pressuring people into doing stuff or asking them, but it's what everybody else does, and apparently it works. So if you can give us a review, it'd be very kind. And if you have a name attached to the review, we'll shout you out.
Yeah.
I have no problem doing that. So far, we just shout out Jangles Prime. Thanks, buddy. Mm-hmm. We actually do have other listeners on here, but they and a lot of their names I forget. I should probably look into that more, like on Twitter and stuff.
And like we've always said before, like either in like an email or one of those social media outlets, if you have a question about something or a topic you think we should talk about for an episode,
always open.
We're always looking for content ideas because that's what we have to do.
Yeah.
So we appreciate that. If there's something you think that we should cover or review or just like talk about,
And also,
or different things you like us to talk about. Like if you want us to talk more about, a certain kind of thing, if you like that stuff more.
And please, 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 please feel free to bombard us with search slogans on any social media platform. Preferably not the email, just because I have to sort through all that.
Yeah.
So, but on social media, get surge trending, and then everyone will, like on Twitter, and just be like, why the fuck is Drunken Pen writing in surge trend? What is that?
Just say whatever ridiculous thing.
No explanation.
Whatever ridiculous thing you can say, like hashtag surge, hashtag
whatever.
Yeah.
We'll work on that. Take over the world using surge.